Is there a secret code hidden within the ancient prophecies of the Bible that holds a key to understanding what the future holds? Today, Jonathan talks with an investigative reporter and a prophecy expert who claim there is a conspiracy underway to create a global government and cashless society. How will all this affect you? What you need to know and prepare for. Just ahead on Jewish Voice.
Shalom and welcome to Jewish Voice, a program to help you to understand the Jewish roots of your Christian faith and Bible prophecy and world events surrounding Israel. The Bible foretold that in the last days there would be powerful forces at work to deceive us, and that immorality and godlessness would be widespread. Did the prophets predict the creation of a global government, a one-world religion, and an economic system? If so, are these initiatives already underway? And if they are, how far along are they? Here to help us answer these questions, a prophecy expert and an investigative journalist who have spent the last 5 years trying to identify who or what these forces are. Please welcome authors of the new book, The Babylon Code, Paul McGuire and Troy Anderson. Guys, congratulations on the new book. Paul, you've been with us before. We've talked about this theme, and Troy, we've known each other quite some time, and congratulations on being the editor of Charisma now. That's working out well, I understand. So it's great to have you both on the program. We're dealing with a fascinating topic. We were talking about this before the program, not only for Christians, not only for believers, but for secular people as well. You've both found that to be true, right?
Absolutely. There's never been more interest, Jonathan, ever before in people trying to connect the dots, because they don't get the sense that their media, I'm not talking about your program, but that their media is really telling what's going on.
Okay, well, I want to dig right into these secret societies. Who are they? Where are they from? And I know there's names. I've heard Illuminati. Now, Paul, you connect this, and you have in a past program, back to the Tower of Babel. Explain that to us.
Well, when I first began this kind of research, Illuminati to me, was like crazy talk. But when I began to study the Bible, especially the account in Genesis that I know you're familiar with, about Nimrod building the Tower of Babel, or Babel, in ancient Babylon, that is the source of the Illuminati. It's the source, Mystery Babylon, where all these secret occult societies came from. And they had an historical reason for it. They had power. They wanted to retain their power, so they had to create these secret societies, which exist today, and transmit that information without the public knowing what was going on.
So this has been going on for thousands of years. Talk about some of the secret societies and who may actually be in control. Who wants to jump in on that?
It's not necessarily a secret society. I mean, many of these organizations are things from, the Council on Foreign Relations to the Bilderberg Group to, Royal Institute of International Affairs and think tanks and sort of this amalgamation of interconnected organizations, international banks, transnational corporations, and this is sort of the powerful forces and the structure that's sort of the predominant power structure in the world today.
So do you believe, are they all working together, Paul? Who's behind the curtain here?
It's not the Wizard of Oz who's behind the curtain. Who's behind our monetary system, the Federal Reserve? Who are those banking families? Who are those individuals? Who are the men who control and women who control those 6 corporations that control all of our media? We get into that in the Babylon Code because Troy and I, after our extensive research, are absolutely convinced that there is an architecture, if you will, of evil controlling not only the world, but the United States of America. But more importantly, we believe that's a biblical assessment.
Do you believe they're all working together, that independently they all have a separate part? How does all this tie together?
There's a spiritual element to all this. The Bible talks about, powerful forces in the heavenly realms. And so we believe that the Bible indicates that, behind the scenes of all this is ultimately, a satanic system, economic, political power structure that, influences humanity.
We don't believe it's like this airtight hierarchical structure where men are sitting in a room smoking cigars with a giant pentagram behind them. So it's a loosely organized conspiracy, but then it's highly organized. Ultimately, it's spiritual, but it has ramifications financially. So, for example, the international financial system, which they had in ancient Babylon, they had a one world economic system. We have a one world economic system today. And these players who control the world's finance, or the media like to call them the 1%, are orchestrating our fiscal policy here, Europe, and in the Middle East for their benefit, not for the benefit necessarily.
Troy, you're a researcher. Do you, and you've worked for secular papers, do you believe that these secret societies can actually crash the economy, can determine who is president of a country?
Well, one of the interesting things we put in the Babylon Code is that the University of Chicago took an interest in this topic, and they actually did a survey and found that 51% of Americans believe a so-called secret cabal actually sort of runs things. And so then
51%.
Yeah, 51%.
You're talking about, I want this to be clear because this is very interesting, a secular university polled secular Americans, and 51% said there's a secret cabal that determines who puts people into power.
Right, and so
that's interesting.
From that, I sort of branched out. I interviewed a professor at Princeton, and he had actually studied this. He looked at how much power do sort of regular people have in our political system, and how much power do the wealthy elite have. And he thought they would have a lot of power, but regular people would have quite a bit. And what he found is that we essentially have very little power, and that the whole system is sort of rigged now, and it's becoming worse and worse as wealth becomes more unequally distributed throughout society.
So what are the? I agree with you that we deal with principalities and powers. But there are human faces that have been empowered to play a role in all this. What are they after?
They're after a one world government, a one world economic system, and a one world religion, because that gives them total consolidation of all power. And this global system that they keep promoting is for their benefit, not for the benefit of the average person.
So talk about end time. You talk about end time signs converging at one time. Walk us through some of them.
First of all, we've never had before the technology to create a one world economic system. Now, through supercomputers, through microchip implants, through international finance, we finally have the technology to create a single global financial system. We've never before had the military power to create a global government. There have been many world conquerors, but never before have we had the military power. You can send jets or rockets or whatever anywhere in the world in a matter of minutes. So now we have the military power to have a global government. And finally, perhaps the most important thing and the most dangerous thing is, we have never had the media, the mass media, available for a single, solitary, unified religious system to emerge. And that's what really Babylon was all about.
I want to go back and focus on that. But Troy, what about checks and balances? You look at Russia has their own agenda, America, China. The various superpowers are all moving their pieces into place, and doesn't it kind of provide a checks and balances? Because, Paul, you talk about the ability for one world government with one military, but what about these checks and balances? Are they an illusion?
What you talk about in the book is that this system has been in play for a long time. This move towards this global system. I mean, you see it with globalism. That's a common term that you hear today. Recently, United Nations passed a sustainable development agenda through 2030. And as part of that, they had the Global Citizen Festival. So there's all these little steps that are sort of incrementally taking to sort of create this system. And we believe at some point, we'll still maintain the nation state, or at least sort of the illusion of that, but through international laws and treaties and different moves like that, this system is sort of slowly being put into place without the knowledge of the vast majority of the people.
Well, I want to go through this. We're going to take a break in a moment, but I want to go through each one. I want to go through the economy. I want to talk about religion, and I want to talk about government. I want to talk about politics. We're going to take a break, and that's what we're going to talk about when we come back. Lots more ahead with Paul McGuire and Troy Anderson. Don't go away.
Here at Jewish Voice, we are dedicated to proclaiming Jesus, the Messiah, to the world, to the Jew first, and also to the nations. One key way we do this is by providing life-saving humanitarian aid to some of the poorest people in the world. In helping them, we share God's love and the good news of Yeshua, Jesus. Today, we are urgently preparing for our next medical clinic to bless a remote lost tribes community in Barangwa, Zimbabwe, the Lembeh. This faithful yet forgotten people have ties to the ancient people of Israel, the priestly tribe of Aaron, and have been practicing ancient Jewish customs for hundreds of years. We need your help to make this vital life-saving outreach possible. Will you be a blessing to these wonderful people and the thousands of others in desperate need? The elderly, children, infants, and toddlers could die for lack of basic medical care. You can help save lives, but we must act now. Call or click right now to help us save lives. And with your gift of any amount, we'll say thank you by sending you a new book by prophecy expert Paul McGuire and journalist Troy Anderson, The Babylon Code, Solving the Bible's Greatest End Times Mystery. This book investigates a topic most end times resources don't: the link between secret societies, Bible prophecy, and current events. It also reveals how powerful forces are currently at work right now to create a global government, one religion, and a cashless society. This powerful book may very well hold the secret to your survival and salvation. You'll also receive this informative 2-CD set by Rabbi Jonathan Bernis called The Role of Israel in Last Days Prophecy. This in-depth teaching series looks at the pivotal role Israel plays in end times events and answers questions such as, are we in the last days? And what one single great event must take place before the return of Jesus? If God has blessed you with the means to share a gift of $120 or more today to help some of the neediest people on earth, we'll send you all of the gifts just mentioned and a set of 3 Jerusalem Globe candle holders with silver and gold finishes. This lovely and unique set includes 1 large and 2 small candle holders, all featuring significant Jerusalem landmarks. They are sure to remind you to pray for the Jewish people and the peace of Jerusalem. Please remember, God has promised to bless those who bless the Jewish people. To share a gift in support of this humanitarian aid and to help countless others around the globe, please call or click now. And remember, your generous gift will make you a part of providing life-saving medical help to some of the neediest people on earth. Once again, time is of the essence for many of these people. Please call or click right now.
We're back with authors Paul McGuire and Troy Anderson, and they've written a book about what they say is the Bible's greatest end-time mystery, and it's called the Babylon Code. Troy, why the Babylon Code?
The reason why we call it the Babylon Code is there's a prophetic mystery in the Bible. It begins in Genesis at the Tower of Babel in the story of Nimrod. And he's an archetype of the Antichrist, and he's oversees the first world government. And then Babylon plays a central role in the books of the prophets, and then it reemerges in Revelation as Mystery Babylon and Babylon the Great. And it's one of the Bible's greatest mysteries, and scholars have puzzled over this for thousands of years.
Okay, so Paul, you claim that there is a mystery that has been locked up, that God is giving us revelation, giving you both revelation as well as many others, directly connecting to this, to the last days. Explain that to us.
Absolutely. What God put in the message of the original Babylon in Genesis, the original Babylon account and the Tower of Babel, God was giving us a heads up of what is happening now in our lifetime as we live in the time period where we are literally witnessing the reemergence or reappearance of Babylon. Commercial Babylon, economic Babylon, religious Babylon is rising before our very eyes. But God gave us a heads up about it thousands of years ago in the original account of Babylon.
Now, you claim that the book will give viewers the tools to identify who the secret power brokers are.
Well, it's hidden in plain sight. Many of your viewers know about the Illuminati music videos, the Illuminati symbols that are in so many music videos, sports stadiums at the Olympics, giant symbols that are Illuminati or occult in nature. And people who understand the symbolism know there are occult signals being sent. So there is a system of secret societies like Skull and Bones, the Bilderberg Group, a semi-secret society, the Illuminati. Yes, the Illuminati does very much exist. The Bohemian Grove, and many other societies. And these compose the world's elite, and they are networking to create a new Babylon. The Babylon warned about in Revelation 17 and 18.
Are they powerful enough to determine who is president of a country or whether we have an economic collapse, Troy?
Yeah, I mean, some of the research we did in the book shows that, you know, the behind-the-scenes power brokers, the people that are wealthy and influential, do have enormous power over our society. You know, for instance, you know, a Princeton professor did a survey and found this like immense power that these people wield, and you know, there's you know, different survey by Public Policy and Polling found that you know, people believe that there's a threat of an authoritarian world government being created now and move towards the cashless society.
Troy, you give us some polling numbers that are astounding. 51% of Americans believe that there's a secret cabal controlling America, and that's a secular survey done by the University of Chicago.
Yeah, we interviewed over 100 different people, everybody from Billy Graham to Dr. Tim LaHaye to Rabbi Kahn to Joel Rosenberg to Noam Chomsky and secular experts, professors at Princeton and different prestigious universities. And across the spectrum, on the faith side, the consensus is, yes, we're in the run-up to the events predicted in the Bible.
So secular scholars believe that events are converging, end-time events converging together.
Yeah, there's actually at Oxford, Cambridge, and some other universities, they formed institutes to study the possible end of human civilization. And Oxford released a report that found 10 major threats to human civilization, and one of them was a totalitarian government, world government.
So you mentioned three things, and we're going to have you back to talk specifically about one world government, a one world religion, and a one world economy. Paul, you made the statement earlier that there already is a global economy of sorts.
Yes, these powerful elite speak in major public financial journals and major public media outlets. They openly say that their plan is to create a global government, a global economic system, and a global religion. They believe, and the UN says this openly, they want a world socialist government with a one world religion and a one world economic system.
Bush Sr. talked a lot about it.
Yes, Bush Sr. put his signature on it by calling for a new world order.
Hey, we just have a few seconds left. There's hope through all this. There is an opportunity for salvation. People will survive. What do you recommend for people?
Well, God has made a covenant with his people. And that means the Jewish people, that means the Christians, that means Christians who believe in Jesus, the Yeshua, the Messiah. He's made a supernatural covenant with all of his people, and he promises to protect them and deliver them no matter what happens. So we have faith in Yeshua.
We always want to end at a good word. There is hope. This is a tremendous time of opportunity, but we also live in very uncertain times, and we need, as the men of Issachar, to be wise, to have ears to hear and eyes to see. We're out of time for today, but Paul and Troy will be back tomorrow, and be sure to join us and get a copy of their new book. It's called The Babylon Code. It will give you the tools to discern the times we live in. And good news, God wants to use you as part of the solution. Still to come, an inspirational story of Jews in Ethiopia who we were able to help thanks to many of you, and as a result, came to know Jesus, Yeshua, as their Messiah and Savior. All that ahead. Stay with us.
The Lembeh, a lost tribe of Israel discovered in the remote regions of Zimbabwe. DNA proves that they are descendants of the priestly tribe of Aaron, practicing their Jewish faith for thousands of years, not knowing their long-awaited Messiah has come and will come again. And the Jewish Voice Outreach Team has the privilege of sharing this amazing good news with them through our outreaches in Zimbabwe. It's amazing. Come witness this miracle. Be an important part of God at work in these last days, gathering His people back to Himself. We need volunteers urgently for this outreach, medical professionals, prayer partners, and practical service volunteers as we minister to thousands of very needy and spiritually hungry people in just one short week. Come with us and help these desperate Jewish people. Say yes to being God's hands and feet. Please answer the call.
One of the most important things that we do here at Jewish Voice, in fact, it's the cornerstone of what we do, is to share God's love through our humanitarian efforts in some of the poorest places on earth. Throughout the year, we conduct outreach medical clinics in places like Ethiopia, India, and Zimbabwe to provide medical care, dental care, eye care. It's all completely free of charge. And most importantly, we share the good news of Jesus, their Messiah and Savior. Now, many who come have never even seen a doctor or a dentist before. We recently spent time ministering to the Beta Israel, the House of Israel in Gondar, Ethiopia. It was amazing. People walked for miles when they heard about the clinic, and many came to know Jesus as their Messiah and Savior. Take a look. Throughout history, they've been a persecuted people, enslaved, massacred, reviled, and driven from their lands. Indeed, the Jewish people have been scattered to the remotest parts of the earth. Even in a nation like Ethiopia, Jewish people have a history that may date over 3,000 years back to the time of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. The Beta Israel, or the House of Israel, is a Jewish community that has survived in Ethiopia for centuries, despite isolation, hardship, and persecution.
Okay, I want to make sure they're separated between children. All the small children are here for pediatrics.
Only all the small.
All the small ones are pediatrics.
Volunteer pediatricians from many nations travel to treat children just like these in Gondar. From providing the most basic pediatric care to treating children who are chronically ill and dying. Many are also lined up today, some for the first time ever, to receive free dental care. Volunteer dentists work tirelessly to help as many patients as they can on each trip. But the opportunity to provide such necessary and sometimes life-saving care is second only to the opportunity Jewish Voice has to transform lives spiritually by proclaiming the good news of salvation in Yeshua, Jesus, the Messiah.
A Muslim lady, just by the love that I showed her, wanted to know the God that I served, purely by my love, because she was suffering so tremendously. And I held her in my arms, and I even cried with her. It was just the right time. I said, God, thank you, because you let me know that what I'm doing is exactly what you want me to do. And just like Jonathan Burnett says, it's not what you say, it's what you do.
We're gonna help you today. Yes, we are. If I could take them home with me, if I could take them all home with me, I would do it. But I can't. And I want to do as much as I can. That's what the volunteers that are with me feel. We want to do as much as we possibly can. And it's like digging in sand, because more come. You treat thousands and more come because the need is so great.
Believing we are living in the days God promised to restore the Jewish people physically and spiritually, Jonathan Bernis is passionate to see the fulfillment of Israel's destiny, to return to their land and to their God.
We would love to have you come with us on one of our outreaches like the one you just saw. I want to promise you this, it will absolutely change your life. Now, there's a cost involved, but believe me, it will be worth every dollar. If that sounds like something the Lord might be putting on your heart, you can call us at the number on your screen, or you can go to jewishvoice.tv. A final thought when we come back. Don't go away.
Here at Jewish Voice, we are dedicated to proclaiming Jesus, the Messiah, to the world, to the Jew first, and also to the nations. One key way we do this is by providing life-saving humanitarian aid to some of the poorest people in the world. In helping them, we share God's love and the good news of Yeshua, Jesus. Today, we are urgently preparing for our next medical clinic to bless a remote lost tribes community in Barangwa, Zimbabwe, the Lembeh. This faithful yet forgotten people have ties to the ancient people of Israel, the priestly tribe of Aaron, and have been practicing ancient Jewish customs for hundreds of years. We need your help to make this vital life-saving outreach possible. Will you be a blessing to these wonderful people and the thousands of others in desperate need? The elderly, children, infants, and toddlers could die for lack of basic medical care. You can help save lives, but we must act now. Call or click right now to help us save lives. And with your gift of any amount, we'll say thank you by sending you a new book by prophecy expert Paul McGuire and journalist Troy Anderson, The Babylon Code, Solving the Bible's Greatest End Times Mystery. This book investigates a topic most end times resources don't: the link between secret societies, Bible prophecy, and current events. It also reveals how powerful forces are currently at work right now to create a global government, one religion, and a cashless society. This powerful book may very well hold the secret to your survival and salvation. You'll also receive this informative 2-CD set by Rabbi Jonathan Bernis called The Role of Israel in Last Days Prophecy. This in-depth teaching series looks at the pivotal role Israel plays in end times events and answers questions such as, are we in the last days? And what one single great event must take place before the return of Jesus? If God has blessed you with the means to share a gift of $120 or more today to help some of the neediest people on earth, we'll send you all of the gifts just mentioned and a set of 3 Jerusalem Globe candle holders with silver and gold finishes. This lovely and unique set includes 1 large and 2 small candle holders, all featuring significant Jerusalem landmarks. They are sure to remind you to pray for the Jewish people and the peace of Jerusalem. Please remember, God has promised to bless those who bless the Jewish people. To share a gift in support of this humanitarian aid and to help countless others around the globe, please call or click now. And remember, your generous gift will make you a part of providing life-saving medical help to some of the neediest people on earth. Once again, time is of the essence for many of these people. Please call or click right now.
I want to thank you for watching today, and I hope you'll join us again tomorrow as I continue talking with the authors of The Babylon Code, Paul McGuire and Troy Anderson. Remember, till next time, to pray for the peace of Jerusalem according to Psalm 122:6. They need your prayers now more than ever. Until next time, I'm Jonathan Bernis saying shalom and God bless you.